The luxury sports sedan world has been ruled by the Germans for decades. BMW, Audi, Mercedes. But now there's a new challenger that's not just copying the formula, it's rewriting it. Meet the 2026 Genesis G70, a car that looks German, drives better, and somehow still costs less. Genesis has always been about shaking up expectations, but this new G70 takes it to another level. With sharper design cues, a completely refreshed interior, and technology that finally feels more premium than the price suggests, it's proof that the Koreans aren't just catching up, they're aiming to surpass. But here's the real question. Can the 2026 G70 truly stand toe-to-toe with the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, and Mercedes C-Class, not just in looks, but in feel, dynamics, and everyday luxury? Because that's the battlefield Genesis has chosen. Today, we're breaking it all down. Design, performance, tech, and what it actually feels like to drive this thing. So buckle up, because the 2026 G70 isn't just another facelift, it's a statement. At first glance, the 2026 Genesis G70 looks like it rolled straight out of Munich or Stuttgart. The proportions, the stance, the confidence. But look closer, and you start to see what makes it distinctly Korean. Genesis didn't just borrow European design language, they refined it with a level of precision and elegance that feels uniquely their own. The updated front fascia carries the brand's signature crest grille, now slimmer and more sculpted, flanked by new quad LED headlights that stretch outward like blades. The hood has deeper creases, giving it a muscular but not aggressive look, while the side profile remains athletic and perfectly balanced. Short overhangs, long hood, and that signature fastback style rear. It's the kind of car that doesn't need to shout to get attention, it just looks expensive. Around back, the twin light bars now taper more cleanly into the trunk, creating a wider stance and more visual drama. Even the details, the subtle chrome trims, the wheel designs, the way the paint catches light, all feel more bespoke than before. This is where Genesis shows its confidence. It doesn't need to copy anyone anymore. In person, the G70 feels solid and deliberate, like every panel was sculpted with intent. Park it next to a BMW 3 Series or an Audi A4, and most people wouldn't guess which one costs less. And that's exactly what makes it so impressive. Under the hood, the 2026 Genesis G70 gives you two very different personalities, and both have their own charm. The base engine is a 2.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that replaced the old 2.0, now putting out a healthy 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission that feels quick, smooth, and surprisingly refined. This setup isn't just about efficiency, it's about balance. It gives you plenty of power for daily driving, quick overtakes, and long highway runs without ever feeling strained. Then there's the real performer, the 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6. Still the heart and soul of the G70 lineup, it delivers 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, sending power to either the rear or all four wheels. With launch control engaged, it hits 60 miles an hour in about 4.5 seconds, which is serious sports sedan territory. What's more impressive is how it feels. The throttle response is immediate, the shifts are crisp, and the power delivery is linear and confident, almost European in character. Genesis also tightened up the chassis for 2026, adding revised dampers and improved steering calibration. The result is a car that feels planted but not punishing. It glides over bumps with composure, yet corners with a sense of precision that used to belong only to the Germans. The G70 doesn't just mimic them, it meets them head-on. And here's the thing, while BMW and Audi have leaned heavily into hybrid or mild hybrid systems, Genesis keeps things pure. No laggy electrification, no artificial feel, just straightforward mechanical performance tuned to perfection. It's refreshingly honest, a driver's car at its core. Genesis has always said the G70 was built with a driver-first philosophy, and for 2026, that promise feels more genuine than ever. This car isn't chasing trends or trying to soften itself to please the masses. It's engineered to remind you that driving should still matter.
The chassis tuning is tighter, more confident, and noticeably more cohesive. Genesis engineers refined the suspension geometry, updated the damper tuning, and slightly recalibrated the electronic power steering to improve road feedback. The result is a sedan that feels alive beneath you, composed yet communicative, balanced yet bold. When you turn the wheel, there's a reassuring sense of connection. You feel what the tires are doing, not through artificial weight or gimmicks, but through genuine mechanical precision. The adaptive suspension system in the higher trims, especially paired with the V6, makes a world of difference. In comfort mode, it soaks up daily imperfections like a luxury car should. Switch to Sport or Sport Plus, and the G70 transforms, stiffer, sharper, and eager to dance through corners with the kind of poise that makes you forget it's not German. The body stays flat, the steering quickens, and the car moves as one cohesive unit. Genesis also improved the braking setup with better pedal feel and reduced fade during spirited drives. Combined with the rear-biased all-wheel drive system, the G70 feels planted but playful. The rear subtly hints at oversteer before the electronics step in to keep you in line. What's refreshing is that Genesis doesn't try to overcomplicate the experience. No endless drive modes, no fake sound through the speakers, no unnecessary gimmicks. Just solid mechanical grip, balanced weight distribution, and a chassis that feels engineered for enthusiasts. This is Genesis saying, we're not following BMW or Audi anymore. We're building something that stands on its own, a driver's sedan that makes you want to take the long way home. Step inside the 2026 Genesis G70 and the first impression hits hard. This is not an imitation of a German cockpit. It's Genesis refining its own identity. The layout feels athletic and intentional, wrapping around the driver with a sense of purpose. There's less flash, more focus. Everything you touch feels deliberate, from the leather-wrapped steering wheel to the knurled metal dials that move with a satisfying click. The materials are top tier for this price range. Genesis still uses genuine aluminum trims, soft-touch surfaces everywhere your hand lands, and stitching that wouldn't look out of place in a six-figure car. But what really stands out is the restraint. The G70 doesn't scream luxury, it whispers it through craftsmanship and precision. For 2026, Genesis added a larger 14.5-inch infotainment display running the latest version of their software. Clean, sharp, and fast. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto finally come standard, and the 12.3-inch digital cluster is now fully configurable, giving a modern and polished feel to the cockpit. The user interface is intuitive. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel like BMW's iDrive or bury functions like Mercedes' MBUX. You can actually change the settings you need while driving without feeling like you're coding a spaceship. But here's where things get tricky. Some of the good stuff sits behind paywalls. Features like the premium Lexicon audio system, ventilated seats, or head-up display are bundled into expensive option packages. So if you want the true Genesis experience, you're gonna have to climb the trim ladder. Still, what's here feels fundamentally right. The seating position is low and supportive, the cabin insulation is exceptional, and even the ambient lighting feels thoughtful rather than gimmicky. Genesis clearly studied what makes luxury feel human, not just digital. If there's a weak spot, it's space. The rear seats are still tighter than what you'll find in a 3 Series or Acura TLX, and the trunk isn't class leading either. But let's be honest, this isn't meant to be a commuter sedan, it's meant to feel like a personal performance sanctuary. Here's where Genesis quietly plays its strongest hand: value. The 2026 G70 isn't just trying to be a cheaper alternative to the Germans. It's showing what a well-equipped premium sports sedan should cost in 2026. The base 2.5T model starts around the mid-40,000s, and for that, you're getting rear-wheel drive, over 300 horsepower, a premium interior, and standard features that would cost thousands more on a BMW 3 Series or Audi A4. You don't have to spend extra to get ventilated seats, adaptive cruise control, or a full suite of active safety features. Genesis gives you that out of the box. Move up to the 3.3T, and yes, you're pushing into the low 50,000 range, but that's still thousands less than a comparable M340i or Mercedes-AMG 43. And the crazy part? The G70 doesn't just hang with them. In terms of torque, real-world acceleration, and composure through corners, it actually feels just as capable, if not more approachable. What Genesis does better than almost anyone right now is make performance accessible. You're not paying for a badge, you're paying for engineering that speaks for itself. And in a market where everything is creeping towards luxury pricing, even mid-trim crossovers, the G70 feels refreshingly grounded.
Of course, resale value and brand cachet are still the hurdles. A BMW badge still turns more heads, and Genesis is still building its reputation among enthusiasts. But that's exactly why the G70 is such a smart buy. You're getting more car, more performance, and more quality for less money simply because the market hasn't caught up yet. In short, the 2026 Genesis G70 proves that real luxury and performance don't have to be defined by legacy. It's proof that you can buy something engineered to challenge the best without paying the status tax. When you slide into the driver's seat of the 2026 Genesis G70 and hit the start button, you know right away this thing means business. The 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6 still brings the heat, 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, sending the car from 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. It's that instant, confident surge of power that feels effortless, refined, and genuinely fun. The smaller 2.5-liter Turbo 4 might not sound as exciting on paper, but with 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, it's no slouch either. It's quick, smooth, and easily one of the best balanced engines in this class. But here's the thing, the G70 isn't just about straight-line speed. The real magic happens once you hit the road. The chassis feels tight and deliberate, the steering is sharp and communicative, and the suspension has this beautiful balance between precision and comfort. You can toss it into corners and it just sticks, flat, predictable, composed. Then, when you're done having fun, it settles back down into an easy, quiet daily driver. On city streets and highways, the G70 behaves like a proper luxury sedan. The cabin stays impressively quiet, the throttle response feels natural, and the gearbox is tuned to deliver smooth, intuitive shifts. The 2.5T feels refined and easy to live with day to day, while the 3.3T rewards you every single time you press the throttle. It's a car that reminds you why driving can still be exciting. That said, not everything is perfect. Fuel economy remains a weak point, sitting in the low to mid-20s combined, and the rear seat space is tight, especially if you're carrying adults back there. The trunk is smaller than most rivals too, which means this isn't the most practical option if you're hauling a lot of gear. But if you care more about how a car feels than how much it can carry, the G70 delivers in spades. It's engaging, responsive, and surprisingly refined, the kind of car that makes even a daily commute feel like an occasion. It's not trying to be the most efficient or the most spacious. It's trying to remind you what driving should feel like. And in that sense, it nails it. Nothing is flawless, and the 2026 Genesis G70 is no exception. While it punches above its weight in design, dynamics, and overall refinement, a few things still hold it back from absolute greatness. For one, Genesis's trim and option strategy can feel limiting. Many of the G70's most impressive interior details, like the Napa leather, upgraded audio system, or advanced driver assist features, are reserved for higher trims. At its lower levels, the car still feels premium, but you don't get that full luxury punch unless you're willing to pay extra. Then there's the reality of market trends. Sedans are fighting a tough battle in a world dominated by crossovers and SUVs. And even though the G70 stands out, rumors of its eventual phase-out after 2027 do raise questions about long-term parts support and resale value. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something savvy buyers are already thinking about. And while the G70 drives beautifully today, its rivals aren't standing still. BMW, Audi, and even Acura continue to refine and evolve, and Genesis can't afford to let this car rest on its current success. To keep up, it'll need more tech integration, more efficient powertrains, and continued polish to stay relevant in an increasingly competitive space. So yes, the G70 delivers an incredible experience for the price, but it's also a reminder that Genesis still has a little more proving to do before it's considered a permanent equal to Germany's best. The 2026 Genesis G70 is made for people who actually love to drive. If you care about how a car feels through the steering wheel, how it settles into a corner, or how it makes you grin on a back road, this car gets it. It's built for those who want the look, the performance, and the craftsmanship of a German sedan, but without the inflated price tag or costly maintenance that usually comes with it. If you're the type of driver that values dynamics and design more than the prestige of a badge, the G70 will absolutely reward you. It gives you that high-end feel without making you feel like you've overpaid for it. It's for professionals who want a car that looks sophisticated in the office parking lot, but still excites them every morning on the drive-in.
Now, if what you want most is a big brand name, a BMW key fob or an Audi badge, or if you prioritize dealership convenience and long-standing resale confidence, those German options might still be your safer bet. But for those willing to step outside the mainstream to find something more distinctive, the G70 represents the smarter and more emotionally satisfying choice. In short, this car is for the driver who wants balance, performance, luxury, and value all in one, and isn't afraid to take the road less traveled to get it. The 2026 Genesis G70 proves one thing loud and clear. Genesis isn't chasing anyone anymore. It's competing head-to-head with the best. It looks expensive, drives with genuine European precision, and undercuts its German rivals by thousands of dollars. For drivers who still love the idea of a true sports sedan, one that talks to you through the steering wheel and rewards every corner, the G70 absolutely delivers. It's that rare blend of luxury and involvement that's becoming harder to find in this crossover-obsessed market. That said, smart buyers will want to approach it with open eyes. Some of the most desirable features live behind higher trims, and long-term rumors about Genesis's sedan lineup mean you should factor in potential life cycle changes. But if you value performance feel over badge prestige, the G70 hits a sweet spot few others can match right now. In the end, the 2026 G70 is proof that you don't need to spend BMW money to get a car that feels just as dialed in. Genesis has built something special, a driver's sedan with refinement, balance, and confidence at a price that still makes sense. So, if you've ever wondered whether a Korean brand could truly capture the spirit of the German sports sedan, the answer this time is yes, confidently and with style. So what do you think? Has Genesis finally cracked the German code? Would you pick the 2026 G70 over a BMW 3 Series or Audi A4? Drop your thoughts down below. Eve wants to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss our next performance review. We've got more real-world tests, head-to-head comparisons, and behind-the-wheel insights coming up, right here on Car Today Reviews.